Hi there everyone, it's me Ben, and no, the camera is not faced the wrong way, even though that's where you're usually looking. Today, you get to be looking at me because, oh, whoops, and my stand fell apart, so sorry, everything's going crazy. Today I'm going to be showing you a customizing tutorial on how to sand minifigures. This is what I've wanted to do for a while. I don't think anybody asked for it, but whenever I talk to customizers and they ask me for advice or something, one of the first things I always talk about is sanding. Now, some YouTubers use this, some YouTubers don't. Customizers. But basically what sanding does is if you have a minifigure, I have some older figures here, a lot of times you'll paint them and then you move the arms around just a little, and if you look there, all the paint scrapes off, which is really annoying because if you painted, for example, this Dipper figure should be black on the sides, it rubbed off all the blacks and now it's orange there, which is super annoying. It can get rid of detail on the sides of your figures, which is really annoying. So the way to fix that is sanding. Basically, you sand the arms and legs to make it to where they don't come into contact with the piece, because that happens on the legs too. I don't know if I have an example for that, but it happens on the legs too. When you move the legs a lot, the paint will start to scrape off. So some people use sealant, which I've heard works fine, but I much prefer sanding them. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that today. I'm currently working on Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Vanessa Doofenshmirtz, and for Vanessa Doofenshmirtz I'm actually also going to show you how to sand female sides. I'm trying to look for a figure for an example. Undyne here has sanded sides. I don't know what other figures I have nearby. Agent Carter has sanded sides. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that today. So I'm just going to get right into it. Okay, so the materials you need for this one are very simple. You need a sanding block. I prefer these ones that have sanding on 4 sides of it, but have 2 sides blank, which I will explain in a minute. And then an X-Acto knife, even though you might not need this except for the part with the female figures sanding the sides. So I'm just going to get to it. So what you want to do is you're going to plop the arms off your figure. They're going to paint. You want to take the hands off, and what you're going to do is you're going to take one arm. I'd take the side that's flat here and the side with the sanding on it and put it to where the knob is on the flat side and just repeatedly sand it just like that. Now you want to just keep doing it until it's reasonably flat so you can kind of tell that it's flat, and what I usually like to do is put it back on the arm and kind of test to see if I can see through. So I don't know if you can tell there, but you can see that crack through the arm, which means you've done good, or you've done well. So you're going to want to do that. Same thing with the other arm. So now you've sanded both of your arms reasonably flat. You can see through the holes in both of them. So now we want to work on the legs. The legs, the paint on them can scrape off too. So instead, what you're going to do, you're gonna want to tear them apart, take a leg off, and instead we're going to use the side that has sanding on both sides. You can, if you have one that only has one side or some sandpaper, it works too. But I find it's really nice to get in that groove there. What you're going to do is you're going to start in the groove, and you're going to sand a little, and then you're just going to keep going around the leg until you've sanded the whole top, so that way it won't touch the hip piece. For the leg, you are going to want to sand more than the arm because it does a lot more scraping, I'd say. And you're also going to want to check it quite often because it's really hard to tell whenever you've got it. But there won't be very much friction. That's one way that you'll know. And there will be, you can't really see there. You see, it's really hard to tell whenever you've sanded your leg to fit into place. So you just want to keep trying at it. And now we are going to do the other leg. So the legs are complete, now that I sanded the tops of both. So now they will be much more loose. You don't have to sand them a ton. One thing I see with people that sand minifigures is often they sand them so much that there's this annoying amount of space. But you don't really have to do that. All you have to do is just sand a little bit, and your figure will be all set. So now I'm going to show you how to make a curved torso for a female figure. So if you've ever seen a Lego printed figure of a female, what they do is they draw these, sometimes there'll be gray lines on the sides here, or in this case for the pretzel girl, black lines to indicate negative space on the figure, just to give a little more difference between male figures and female figures. And so when I started customizing, I did the same thing. Here's an older custom of mine. I just drew negative space. But whenever you customize more, you kind of want to start, like, I don't know, making all of your figures more, I don't know what words to use, like give them more shape. So you do more sculpting and you do more sanding. And one thing a lot of customizers end up doing is creating negative space on their figures, like some examples I showed you earlier. And it's just kind of one less thing to paint, and also it's really hard to get two lines on both sides that are pretty much even. So it saves you room on that. But if you just want to continue to paint negative space, or not do any sanding or negative space and just leave your female figures the same shape as your male figures, that works, but this is just something I like to do to differentiate them a little. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that now. So this is what you're going to need your X-Acto knife for. When you have these sanders with the edges, you could, technically speaking, just continue to sand with the edge on the side of the minifigure until it would get you a line, but it's going to be a pretty straight angle, which is a little annoying. So instead, I like to kind of carve the sort of shape I want with the X-Acto knife of kind of a more rounded angle, and then go back with the sander and sand it out to make it more smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife, and I like to just take the front edge and just kind of do a little dip out of it, and just continue to do that until it is pretty big, and then I will start sanding it. But I don't know if I'll cut this before I sand it or not, so go ahead and cut your minifigure a little. So I just cut a line that I'm pretty proud of. It looks about like the shape I want. So all I'm going to do now is take the edge of the sander and just sand it up to make it a little more smooth and to make it go a little bit farther back. Some people make the negative space go all the way to the end until it reaches this side, but that's really difficult, so I usually don't do that because I don't usually work on my minifigures' backs. I just leave them blank. So I'm just going to take my edged sander and sand out the side a little more. So now there's a good enough amount of space there to where you can see it, and I like the shape quite a bit. So I'm just going to try to recreate it on the other side. It usually is harder to recreate, so I would suggest cutting a little less. But another thing you probably noticed while I was doing there, I actually went back with my X-Acto knife and used it a little bit more just to help the shape out a little. Because again, this can kind of make it too much of a right angle. So if you use the X-Acto knife after you sand it a little, it can help keep the shape nice. So you might want to switch between them, but usually I just do one cut, a couple cuts of the X-Acto knife, and then quite a bit of sanding from the sander. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut and sand the other side to be just like the other side, hopefully. So now I have both sides of the torso about how I would like them, which means I am done with the figure. I mean, obviously this figure is not complete, but I'm done sanding the sides. I'm gonna have to sand her legs and arms, even though, actually, another perk of sanding the sides of female figures is usually you don't have to sand the arms because of this space here. The paint will stay there and won't be scratched off. So yeah, I'm not gonna show that because you've already probably watched way too much of me sanding stuff, so I'm just gonna cut it off there. Say thank you for watching. If you have any ideas for custom tutorials, tell me below. I think a couple people have given me ideas, but I'm just not sure exactly how to implement entire videos on them, so I'm also trying to just post techniques. Next week is going to be my Phineas and Ferb showcase starring what these two figures are going to be, as well as Phineas, Ferb, and Candace. So I'm pretty hyped for that. Stick around if you want to see these figures completed. Thanks for watching. I want to give a shout out to the 5 people in the description. Actually, I don't know. Actually, this isn't a customizing video, so scratch that. I'm probably not going to cut it out, though, but scratch that. Because this isn't a custom review, but I need to say this earlier in the video, but if you have customs and want to be featured on this channel, want to get a little boost before you start posting them places, you can send them to me at justin0701@gmail.com, or post a link in the comment section of any of my videos. I will check it out, and me and a guest star will review them on my new series, Justice Spotlight. So thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.